Hi, good evening. Is Labour falling? Is Labour failing? Because today, Keir Starmer made a remarkable U-turn on winter fuel allowance. Did you believe him? Because he gave no details, but he gave this clear suggestion that he was going to revise it. So is it a real change of heart? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Or is it just him pressing the political panic button? I want your views and I want them now. Get writing up in the comments, please. Tonight, I'm going to ask the tough questions. Has Labour lost control? Is reform now the real opposition in Britain? Well, we know they are. But I want to know what you think. Or is this all just smoke and mirrors again? Meanwhile, 800 illegal migrants got out of their dinghies, sailing dinghies at Dover today. This is unsustainable. We need to get on top of this problem. Do you agree? Well, I'm Jon Gaunt, and this is the show where we cut through all the spin, all the crap, and hopefully get to some kind of truth. Good evening. If you enjoy the show, please press the like button. Even if you don't like it, press it because it all helps me. Tell your friends about it and let's get talking. I do want to talk about the 800 illegals who landed in Dover today. It's a record. I want to know what you think about Starmer. And Mad Chic 1981, I don't know if you're talking about me or whether you're talking about Starmer, but we don't really have swear words, if you don't mind. So when you say he talks a load of SH1T, you can express it as SH1T, but don't write the word because other people might be offended by it. Yeah, we have certain standards here, but maybe you knew and you didn't know it. If you are a new person or a new viewer, make sure you say that in your comments as well. You might get looked after first, or maybe not. All right, let's get going. So Starmer, completely out of the blue, announced this today. So let's start with what was actually announced, because it wasn't that much. He said that they were looking at winter fuel support. He didn't say it was going to be fully restored. Here's the kicker. He didn't really give any detail, no real timeline, and crucially, no way of funding it. What he said was, we're going to look at it in the next budget period, which is October. But if it's talking about the winter fuel, he'll have to do it before October, because obviously October's when it gets cold and the pensioners will start freezing to death. So I think we might get an announcement very soon. But I think this is typical of Starmer and Labour. The three trade deals, India, America, and indeed the EU, they haven't really given us much detail, have they? How good are these deals? How long is it going to take to come off? And the big question, the massive question about restoring the winter fuel, he said they couldn't afford it before. Where's he suddenly got the money from? He made some vague kind of suggestions that they were going to get it from these trade deals. Well, even somebody who's doing O-level economics knows that the trade deal isn't going to produce money that quickly. So is he playing with us? Is he just giving us a little bit of red meat to take the pressure off him? Because let's face it, he's under massive pressure. He's got reform breathing down his neck. Not a pleasant experience, I wouldn't imagine. He's got the illegal immigration. He's not on top of it. He's not smashed the gangs. He couldn't smash a bloody avocado. He's got legal migration, which is through the roof. He's just done a very unpopular thing with 18 million people in this country and has effectively joined the EU again. He is the most unpopular Prime Minister on record, if you discount Liz Truss. And let's face it, she didn't last as long as a lettuce. So is he just trying to take the pressure off himself? Then he's got his domestic issues, because those have never really gone away, have they? The dresses for his wife, the freebies, Freebiegate, Taylor Swift, the Arsenal box. And then he's surrounded by a load of sixth formers. Are they going to give him the support he needs. And now we're hearing that Angela Rayner, she wants to be Prime Minister. Dream on, love. But she's been plotting against him. And some people are saying it's her who wants to restore the winter fuel allowance. Now, don't get me wrong. I want it restored. I thought it was ridiculous taking it away. And what's the point of having all the hassle? You're only going to save a very small amount of money. So the basic facts that we know at the moment, he's kind of suggesting it'll be in October. He's not actually said that. He hasn't said what the funding plan is for it. And he hasn't said whether it's going to be every pensioner is going to get it back, whether it's going to be a full restoration. Oh, he's also got the farmers on his back, hasn't he? So he's really up the creek without a paddle. I'd suggest without even a blooming canoe at the moment. So it's going to be October at least, probably. Why is he telling us now? And why was the whole way he told it so chaotic? Normally, they would have briefed the lobby journalists before. He hadn't. So did he just do it in a panic? And also, I don't think this is leadership. This is a classic jam tomorrow situation. You can have the jam on your bread tomorrow. Well, I don't know about you. I'd have the bread and the butter now because I'm skint. I think everyone's skint. So my first question, and please feel free to answer this or bring up another situation. Do you trust Starmer's promises? Or is it just another vague headline grab? And if it is, it's going to fail because he hasn't got the ability to work the press, has he? I think they probably despise him as much as me and you. And also as well, he's got all his social media posts and his videos. You know, I made a joke today on Twitter, which other people have stolen, which is basically we don't need these new, what they call passport control areas, electronic passports. All we need is a dinghy. You get into Britain much quicker in that. So tell me in the chat, what do you think about what is proposed today? Also, tell me about the 800, I keep wanting to say 8,000. It's 800 migrants who have come in today. Totally and utterly unsustainable. Let's go to some comments and then we'll carry on with my views on this, please. And then back to you. Leviton Salvatore says, finally caught you live. You're brilliant. Keep on doing what you're doing. Well, if you think I'm that brilliant, why don't you buy me a cup of coffee or donate via YouTube? But thank you. That's very kind. It's nice to have something like that. Graham Fletcher, fair play to him for rectifying the mistake he made with the winter fuel allowance. Move on, says Graham on YouTube. Fair point, Graham. I've been berating him for months and months now, and now he's doing what I said. So that's why I don't want to totally slag him. But I do want to say to you, Graham, and to everybody else who's watching or listening later, can we trust him? He hasn't put any meat on the bones. It's a typical lawyer. On the one hand, there's this. On the other hand, there's that. They never express their real opinion. And I don't know about you, Graham, but that worries me. Why didn't he do a proper one today where he had the lobby journalists in 2 days ago? You've seen how he does it. I've been telling you about this for weeks and months. They normally brief the press, so we all know what they're going to say. Then he stands up in the comments and says it. That's not how it works. I don't know if you were watching, Graham. How it worked today was Kemi had him on the ropes and he just said it. It isn't worked out. So we don't know, is it every pensioner? We don't know if it's means tested. We don't know if it's going to be the same amount of money. And crucially, we don't know how it's going to be funded. So that's why I'm saying, let's just be a little bit careful on this, please. I'm not saying slag him for it, not at all, because he's now doing what I want. If he now lays off the farmers, lays off the students, we might be getting somewhere. And also restores or doesn't take away the money from the disabled, then maybe we call him a socialist again. Not Ange or Reg, though, on Facebook, she says he's a complete knob. Thank you for your comment. Like I say, try not to be too foul in your language. I don't think that is. I think knob's acceptable. And evening, John. This is only a way for Starmer to try and make himself look good. But let's not be fooled. This is too little, too late. The public aren't daft enough to fall for this. Hashtag Starmer out. Well, it's interesting. When I wrote the original title for tonight's show, I did write Starmer's winter fuel U-turn, too little, too late. And then I changed it to get some more of the keywords to get more people watching into what I've got now, which is Labour in crisis, reform rising, polls falling. Falling. So that's what I put now. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Steve. It's a dangerous situation. Were you the person who at the very end of yesterday's show said, if you get back on mainstream radio, which I'm sure you will you carry on doing these? Well, two things there. I ain't got any hope of ever getting on mainstream radio. I'm not necessarily that bothered. And two, yes, I probably would carry on. Keir is dangling a carrot, says Ronnie Hurst. He won't give us anything except an early demise with the cold. See, I just think he's let it go too far. He should have done this weeks ago if he was going to do it at all. And I don't know whether the British public are going to buy it, but you tell me. So that brings us on to the next part of my little essay. Is Labour in a panic mode? What do you think? Just 10 months ago, Starmer looked completely unbeatable, massive majority. Now, I've always said that's because the rest of the opposition was useless. There was nobody to challenge him. And what had happened before him with Sunak and Boris and Liz Truss was just so dreadful. We had 14 years of misrule from the Conservatives. However, he did win. I don't think he expected to win early on when he became leader of the opposition. And I think he was in a panic from the day he walked through number 10. And then he must have looked around and thought, oh, this will be a cabinet of all the talent. So then he ended up with Rayner, Lammy, Haig, who got the sack, not the bald one, not the old Conservative, but the woman who did the mobile phone thing. And then he's got other people who are, their CVs, how would we put it, have been massaged. And I've got a question as well. I'll just throw this one in for you. Do you think Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, is now toast? Because she played this whole winter fuel allowance as if she was the only one in the cabinet with balls to do tough things that the country needed. Well, now Starmer's saying we don't need it, and it went too far. But you see, again, what Starmer should have done today was apologise. Even if he wasn't going to give all the details, why didn't he say, actually, yeah, I got this wrong? And Kemi, she basically gave him an open goal to shoot at because she was surprised when he said this. So she still asked the same question as her follow-up. She looked stupid. Whereas if he'd said, look, I apologise, he could have taken the moral high ground. But I think this is a panic thing. I think he was surprised by how well Reform and Nigel Farage did in the local elections. So now we've got to see, is he going to work? He's got a social media system, but the real world results were just so grim, weren't they, in that election? Those by-election losses, the council seat collapse, the red wall now, they reckon, is falling down. And then he does this rushed U-turn. I don't care what you say, whether you agree with me, agree with Starmer, think it's a good thing, whatever, you can't tell me that wasn't a rushed thing today. It was. It was almost a handbrake turn. I imagined Freddie Flintoff would be around any minute now, or Stig. So this doesn't look like a confidence move to me. It looks like an incompetent move and also just absolute lacking confidence. I think he knows he's finished. And I think that's why he's rushing through. And also, don't stand still for too long because he'll flog you. Did you see the story on GB News? They're getting rid of the Isles tomorrow, the Chagos Isles. The guy from Mauritius is coming over. They're signing it away. They're not just signing it away. We're then going to rent back our sovereign territory. One could say he gave away our sovereignty last week with the EU fiasco. And now there's talk about Gibraltar going into a special deal with the EU. Well, I don't know about you. I'm against all those things. Tell me what you think. And even Starmer's had to acknowledge Nigel Farage and Reform, calling them the real opposition. Can you imagine if you were a Labour MP or an activist and your leader suddenly said, it's Farage we've got to worry about, you wouldn't be happy, would you? You would not be happy. It's a bit like the captain of the Titanic suddenly admitting, oh, yeah, that is an iceberg. Oh, shit. Yeah, we are going to hit it. That's already too late. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? Let's take some more people and come back to you later. Starmer is a man losing his party, and the public is going soon. I hope. Thank you for your comments, Nigel Gordon. Fraser Ford, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a clap. So he's given me the clap. Thank you very much indeed. Leverton Salvatore again. I don't trust a word out of his mouth. Thank you. Ronnie Hurst says, yeah, but there's tax rises on the way. You make a good point, Ronnie, because there's a leaked story today in the Daily Telegraph that Angela Rayner wants to whack up taxes. So is this a diversion tactic from that? I don't know. I don't know. You do not know in politics sometimes just how dirty they might be playing. But I think if they try to raise any taxes, they're definitely toast. If you're enjoying the show, please click the like button. And if you really like what I do, if you'd like to donate, you certainly can. Oh, Denise Deacon there. She donated a £5 last night. Thank you, Denise. She says, I won't believe anything he says until I see it. And I bet if he does reverse it, someone else will have to suffer to pay for it. Yeah, that's very true. See, this is what I'm saying. It's all in the detail. The devil is always in the detail. So Jackie says she can't trust Starmer. Where do you stand? Don't forget, if you do want to make a donation while I'm on air, you can do that. That'd be really good if you could. I think you press the heart symbol, don't you? And then you can decide how much you want to give. Otherwise, you can do it from www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. Remember, I don't get paid for these. I'm just basically getting my career back off the ground. Oh, sorry, I've got an irritable nose now. Looks like I'm on coke. I'm not, by the way. And so I just need help. And you know, we've got this up now to 4 days a week. I do a couple of extra shows as well. I think you're getting value for money. Anyway, enough of the sales pitch. Let's go to Craig Urquhart. Appears it may be more expensive to means test it, John. So Sir Elton John will get it. Well, I don't really understand that, but never mind. Thank you. Steve says, yes, John, I did. You did what? Oh, you asked the question. Thank you. If you want to ask that question again or have a bit more discussion on that, feel free. Do it now. Also, no one's talking about the migrants. Are you worn down with that story? 800 men got off rubber dinghies in Dover today. If it was unsustainable before, it definitely is now. And GB News, they had a bloke on there who was telling everybody, bragging about it in a video, how he's come all the way from Somalia, right? And how he got into Italy on that little island that they've got. Then he gets into mainland Europe and about how he gets across. And then they also had a video of some bloke brought his bloody dog with him. Now that's taking the PISS, isn't it? Brought his dog and whacking great big Alsatian with him. What's going on? And why are we so soft on it? You know what my solution is? Tent cities. Use the Nightingale hospitals. Use the big warehouses. That's what they're sleeping in Calais. And now they're just waiting because the weather's turned good. It's going to get worse and worse. I don't blame one individual to wanting to better their lives, but we can't have everybody in and we can't have the system breaking down. All politicians have let us down on this. All of them. Get a grip. And Keir, if you want to get re-elected or even last the 4 years, you've got to get a grip on this now. The winter fuel allowance people hated. That's why you've had so much opposition. On the doorsteps, everybody was talking about it. That's why you lost the election. Well, that and illegal migration and also legal migration, because you got blamed for the mistakes or the inaction of the useless Tories. If we're being honest, he hasn't improved it, but God, what a hand he was dealt. Do you not agree? Twilight, you never know. Starmer may turn the law around. Turn the what? Hang on. That didn't come up on the screen. There it is. You never know. Starmer may turn the law around and arrest, laugh out loud, the Dover boat boys. I don't think so. Ronnie Hurst says, don't panic, Mr. Farage. Labour won't do anything for the British public. If you want to talk about that, I want to hear from you. Going to come back to my main story in a minute. Listening to most of the talk in Westminster makes me cringe, says Chopper MK50. All the lies, the jeering, the sidestepping questions. It should be like a court of law, and lying results in perjury with consequences. I quite like that idea. No chance. There's no way are they going to allow that. And have you noticed, Sir Keir Starmer? That was another thing that came out last night. Keir Starmer said, oh, no, he was on Sly News. He's interviewed by them. And they said, what about Lucy Connolly? And he said, well, I don't really know the facts of the case. You lying bastard, right? Of course you know the facts. I'm not saying you told the judge to send her down and make her a political prisoner. But I do recall, Starmer, you did say all the people who were protesting were far-right white thugs. You did say that. And so the chumocracy, your chums in the loyal, legal area would have thought, oh, he's given us the green light to be really harsh. And, of course, you televised the trials. And, like, Lucy Connolly didn't get a fair trial. She didn't understand what was going on. I'm not saying she should have treated it. I thought what she treated was horrible. But then again, in a democracy, you should be able to say what you want, and no one has the right to not to be offended. I believe in free speech. I'm not a complete free speech absolutist like some people are, but I certainly don't think you deserve to go to prison for 31 months. That's how long she's down for, and the judge has done it again. Starmer. And then last night on the telly, he said, oh, no, I don't know the details. What a lying git. Right, Twilight. Starmer isn't going nowhere until he's voted out in 3 years. I think he loves the hate. I was going to say you're a plonker until I read your last line of that. Yeah, you're right. He's a bit of a masochist, isn't he? And what on earth? Don't gossip about this on here. But what's going on with now? It's 3 blokes who were trying to firebomb his house and succeeded. 3 of them, 2 Ukrainians, another East European, and they're saying, and other people as well. What's the story there? I know what they're saying on the internet, but you can't back any of that up. But what we need more information. We needed more information when those little girls, those little angels got killed in Southport. But he denied it. He wouldn't tell us. He knew who did that, and he held it back from the British public and called us far right. As per usual, we were the enemy. Paul Redding says he's running scared, getting smashed in the local elections. This is a knee-jerk reaction. I just hope people don't fall for it. Yeah, well, that's true, but that's down to the great unwashed, me, you, and everybody else, to talk about it and not be conned. How many times we've been cheated? Can't happen again, can it? You never know, though. You never know. So where's the money coming from? Let's get back to the point of my story today. If you want to talk about the refugees or the migrants, you want to talk about Starmer, you want to talk about the 3 Ukrainians, you couldn't make this up, could you? Feel free. Put your comments up. And if you want to donate, feel free to do that as well. It'd be good if you could. If this winter fuel U-turn is serious, and I've got my doubts, I think it might be a bit of Billy Bull yet, we need to know. Show us the cash, Starmer. In the next week or so, he needs to say where the money will come from. We've heard nothing. No tax strategy. There's this thing about Angela Rayner wanting to put taxes up. Is that what they're going to do? Oh, we'll put the taxes up, then we can pay the poor pensioners because it's your fault we're not paying them. No. And also, how much longer? They've been in power now 10 months. How much longer they're going to keep on blaming the Tories for the mess and going on about the black hole? Don't like it. I don't like it. Dirty, dirty politics. Is there a savings plan? Or have we just got vague promises from your man, Starmer? And you know when Starmer said, oh, we got this thing, you'll be able to get to... Did you see the tweet he put out? You'll be able to get to the beach much quicker, as if the condescending, patronising prat, as if us working class people think, oh, that's brilliant. And he went to Aldi the other day. Oh, he's one of us. He's a tool maker. He's like us. No, he's just a tool. He's got no idea. And whoever's writing his tweets or doing his social media needs to get a grip. It's obviously not him. It's probably some intern, but it makes him look stupid. It makes him, and we're getting to him, because one today was him walking out of a building from the back. So you see him walking away from the camera, and he's saying, no backing out forward, or something like that, he says in this video, as if I'm not bothered. You can say what you want about me. I'm taking tough medicine for the country. I'm a hard case. Well, you see, that might work if it was Farage, but it doesn't work for you, mate, because you're not. You're about as soft as a rechewed piece of fudge. I'll have to work on that one. But you know what I mean. He isn't a hard case, is he? And then the trade deal boasts. It's all big headlines. Like when he did the coalition of the useless. Oh, he was a world statesman. Well, I've just been watching Donald Trump on the telly. He's the statesman. He's now got South Africa in there. And he was giving the South African a right rollicking about how the white farmers are being treated. And it looks like he sorted out Zelensky and Putin. But no, Starmer had to be the big I am with his coalition of the useless, which turned out to be Poland, wasn't it? Oh, and France. And as we know, we can always trust them in a fist fight, can't we? I said a fist fight. So it's just nonsense. And then the trade deals. Oh, look what we got from America. Well, you haven't really told us what you got. We can now sell our cars with only a smaller tariff, but we're still paying more than we were before. It wasn't a great deal. Donald Trump got the best part of that deal. And then the EU. What have we got for the EU? We're going to be able to, according to Starmer, the big selling point for you working class plebs, you'll get to the beach in Benidorm quicker. It's just, you couldn't make this up. So big headlines, no substance, and you've got people like the BBC, just like they are the way they are with Trump, they connive and collude and deal with this thing. He's like the emperor in new clothes. Yeah? It's like Biden, the way they lied. I mean, he obviously had dementia. He obviously had cancer for a long time. I wish him well. He's going to die, isn't he? Let's be straight about it. But they hoodwinked the American people along with their media. And that's what's probably happening in this country. Going to talk about immigration in a moment. But do you believe any of this will happen with Starmer? Do you think it will come off in October? Or is it pure political theatre? Please tell me what you think. Right, Nigel Gordon says, would anyone trust a politician, John? No, it certainly feels like it at the moment. The fuel payment, John. Sorry, says Craig. Don't really get that one, but thank you. Dark Angel says, hi, John. No one will believe anything Starmer says anymore. Well, you see, I think you've hit it there. You've hit it there because he's done so much damage. He's upset so many different groups, you know, people with disabilities, the elderly, savers, students, the fishermen, I nearly forgot them, the farmers. There isn't many people left that he hasn't basically taken the PISS out of, is he? So he's not popular. There's no two ways about it. You don't need a poll to tell you that. So Dark Angel, you're right. So, and I think it's too little, too late. I think today he should have said, we are restoring it completely. And then he should have said, I made a mistake. I would like to apologize to all of the elderly people this is affected, but also to the House and indeed to the British public. I'm new to the job. I'll now get better at it. Give me a break. If he said that, which of course he can't say because he's not that kind of bloke, but if he did, we'd all go, yo, good on you. But now, if in October he says, you know, he could, in October, he could say, I'm going to give everybody all the money they want in the world. And we'd all go, wouldn't we? He's lost us. It's like the football manager. He's lost the dressing room, although he's lost the ground and the chairman and everybody else. I'd love to know who voted Labour in, says Robert Brunt. Well, no one's going to admit to that, are they? But I know where you're coming from. Denise is back. Starmer couldn't be straight in bed. Careful, Denise. Careful. I think you meant lay straight in bed, didn't you? I.e., you think he's a bit bad. Oh, it's hard, isn't it? I'm sorry. There should be a sweep stake to see how long Starmer will last as PM. I say 5 months. I think he'll be gone by October, maybe. CBR 99. If Starmer was a footballer, he scored a massive own goal as soon as he kicked off, and he's taken the British public to the bottom of the league financially. I quite like that. That's quite nice. And also, this is good, Leviton Salvatore. Who can afford a bloody holiday the way he's robbing us? I think that's a very good point as well. People are skint. Everybody you talk to is absolutely skint. And that's another problem he's got. He hasn't caused necessarily all these problems, but now I think he's in a death spiral. I said this a few weeks ago, but I certainly think he is now. There's no way he's going to survive. And then people say, well, will Labour survive? Who have they got to take over? But then when we look at the Tories, who have they got? And I've got to say, the Liberal Democrat guy made a couple of good points today. He said, well, it's okay if he sorts out the elderly by giving them back their winter fuel allowance, but what are you going to do with the people with disabilities or the carers? What are you going to do about the people who look after their disabled mums or their kids? What are you going to do about that? And what are you going to do about care workers? You've now stopped, basically, any care worker coming in from Eastern Europe. How are you going to solve that? Who's going to wipe your ass, so to speak? And it probably does need wiping at the moment. I reckon he must be absolutely crapping himself. He's out of power. He's finished. He's gone. Do you agree? Right, let's carry on. So while we're talking about winter fuel, whilst he was standing up at Prime Minister's questions today, 800 fighting age young men were getting out of boats in Dover. Just think that through for a minute. 800. And that was only by about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Maybe it's going to be more now. It's the most in any one single day because there's been a few rough days at sea. Now they can get back over because it's as calm as a mill pond. That said, 2 people died today. I think just even one person dying is too much, don't you? You've got to make them understand they're not going to get squeezy soap and hotels when they get here. That's the only way you're going to solve this. Tough love. And what I don't understand, he made a big issue of, we've got this new relationship with the EU and we're talking to them, we're going to build on it. Why didn't he say one of the conditions of anything that we're going to agree with you? Now, whilst we're giving you all the silverware, all our heritage, all our culture, everything, just one thing we need you to do. Oh, yeah, what's that? Help us out with the migrants. France, Macron, stop just waving them over, will you? He didn't do that, did he? He could have got an agreement he was going to return them. And then France have an agreement with Italy. And then it's, you just understand what I mean? So in the end, they know they might travel all the way, like this bloke who was bragging on GB News today, all the way from Somalia. And he was in a hotel with squeezy soap at the end of it. You couldn't make this bloody stuff up, right? I was fuming, right? He wouldn't come if he thought it was going to be even more difficult, would he? And I'll tell you something else. And I was watching Martin Daubney, an old mate of mine, and he got really physically upset. There was meant to be some Dunkirk thing today where a flotilla of boats was going back over to, recognise the work they did and the contribution they did in the war. It had to be diverted because there were so many rubber dinghies coming over the channel. A land fit for heroes, reduced to that by the zeros in government. I'm not just having a go at Starmer. This goes back 40, 50 years. We've got to get a grip. This is Great Britain. Now, don't forget, immigration was the other major issue in the local elections. Voters care, but Labour are paralysed. They are the archetypal rabbit in the headlights. They're now talking about digital borders. As I say, it's easier to get into Britain. You don't need a digital border, you just need a dinghy, it looks like. And not only that, you'll get helped into the dinghy in France. This is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. So it brings me on to ask, is Starmer finished? Let's come back to that in a moment. Let's take some more of your views. Is he finished? Sausages from Lidl's. Starmer, the cheap gunt. Thank you very much indeed. Their sausages are very good, actually, but never mind. That's a different issue. Why don't Labour MPs stand up for their constituents? Are they all scared of Starmer? Look, pretty much so. They can't all agree with him. No, they don't, but they just bitch in the background. So many things Starmer's does are anti-British, says Jackie Ward. Why does he hate Britain so much? I can't go into the psychology of Starmer because then I'll end up talking about the Ukrainian. I just can't work him out. He's on a fortune. He's been on a fortune for years, and he takes 3 suits and lets another bloke buy his wife frocks and lingerie. I'd punch the lights out of somebody if they did that with my missus. Call me working class, call me a pleb, call me a yobbo, call me whatever you want. I would not be doing that, would you? Rob says, evening Gaunty, Starmer U-turning on the fuel payments won't be the last U-turn. No, it won't be. That he makes in order to win back the public. But the public will never trust him again. He'll be out in 4 years. Now, I half agree with you there, Rob. I think it's too little, too late. And I don't think the public will fall for it. I think you're correct. Dark Angel, he's a nobody who thinks he's a somebody. I've met a lot of them in my life, let me tell you. There's loads of them in broadcasting. Get this idiot out of government, says Andy Harrington. Thank you very much indeed for your comment. Neil is moving on to the next bit, which is quite a good idea. Who could replace Starmer? There's not one person in that party that I think could be his successor. I agree with you entirely. David Lammy? I don't think so. And that's the problem. I like your picture. It's a picture. If you're listening on audio, you won't get this. But now when you comment, if you've got a picture as an avatar or whatever, it comes up on my screen so the public can see it as well. That's a nice little touch. And this one has got a Neil out of the young ones, but he's actually animated. Clever. Very, very clever. I'll have to get one of them myself. I'll get him to do the show. Don't get me started on the EU, says Dark Angel. Well, that's the way it is. The 800 today is a pea in the ocean. The army are here. Obviously, Nigel thinks it's an invasion. A lot of people share that opinion. It's not one I do at the moment, although they are of fighting age. I tell you one thing, I am disappointed. I'm working my little socks off here, and no one has donated. We've got over 20 likes. That's good. So that's better than a kick in the teeth. But if you do like it, please press the like button. And don't forget, you can also get us on all the audio podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, all the rest of them. You can get us, so you can always listen to the show afterwards. I make them. Most people, they tend to either make a video or they make the audio one. I just do it all at the same time. And I like this idea of doing it live and having the contributions. I think that's because of where I come from in terms of, used to do radio talk shows. So it's up to you. And don't forget, what we're trying to do is get to a stage where we can take phone calls. Next stage is to get guests. But because of my personal life, coming down here every other week and looking after the dog, I haven't yet got to the point where I feel confident enough to make sure in the technology to make sure the guests don't fall out. And I don't want to pre-record the guests. Some people do that on podcasts. I think it makes it too safe. I want you to be involved. I want you to be able to ask them questions as well. So if you're liking what I'm doing, please press the like. If you'd like to contribute, please go to www.buymeacoffee.com. You can buy me a beer there as well if you want. /Jon Gaunt. It's all over the place, the link. Feel free to do that. Feel free to join my YouTube channel. It's called Jon Gaunt TV. If you go to that on YouTube, Jon Gaunt TV, you can subscribe. That means you get a notification every time I'm doing a broadcast. And you can also look at all my old podcasts and my videos and stuff. And it's free, completely free. You've just got to sign up for it. You've got to just subscribe. And then if you want to become a fan or you want to give me a reward, you can do that as well. But that's separate. You don't have to. Anyway, let's move on. Where are we going next? Let's go now back to this. Is he finished? Do you know what? I think his leadership has never looked less shaky than it is now. But it's not just shaky, it's also silly. He comes over as silly, as if he just He's a silly boy. He just hasn't got a clue what to do. That's sweet, isn't it? I haven't got a clue what to do. Is that Blockbuster? I think it is. So it isn't just about one policy. Starmer's leadership is not there. He's not a leader. He's like Gordon Brown. He'll never be a leader while I've got a hole in my underpants. Reform is just going to continue to gain ground. Labour looks like it's reacting, not leading, although she did better today at question time. But it's the start of a collapse before the general election. I don't think he'll last 4 years. I really don't. If you agree, tell me in the comments. If you disagree, tell me as well. Can Starmer recover this? See, I think it's all too late. I think it's over. I think he's toast. So it's now your turn. I want your voice. I want your opinions. What do you take about everything we've said tonight? We've had some great opinions. Is the U-turn too little, too late? And who do you now trust to lead this magnificent country? If you've had enough of weak promises and you just want straight talk, please make sure when you finish that you share the video or the podcast right away on X, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are. Please do. That's how you can really help me get the word out there. I'm still getting people saying, "Oh, I didn't know you were back doing broadcasting, Gaunty." And that's really nice. I'm getting loads of, if you ever want a bit of a discussion about what we talked about, go to YouTube and send an email there, like a message thing in their community on my channel. I'm getting hundreds of emails now, and it's interesting. So if you've enjoyed the show, just a reminder, please hit the like button. Please press the share button. And please subscribe, which is free, like I told you before. Make sure the mainstream media know that we're watching them as well, because they are complicit in all this. They would like nothing better than Starmer to make a recovery and it go back to two-party politics. They don't know how to handle or reform. They certainly don't know how to handle people like me. But I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday. I'll be back in my studio tomorrow. That's the back bedroom. And I'll be talking real issues. And your voice will be front and center. So don't forget, like, share, and talk about it. Subscribe, and feel free if you'd like to donate as well. It's all going to help. Right, I'm going to finish. Where am I now? Ancient Man says, Starmer just said this about winter fuel allowance to get attention away from his Brexit reset, the European thing. I think you might be right there, Ancient Man. I think you're right, maybe right. I think he's that one-dimensional. I think that could be the case, but it's going to backfire on him, isn't it? If Labour let the illegal immigrants stay, where do they live? There's not enough houses. Well, they're going to live in the houses that your people have been waiting for. Haven't you drawn that? Haven't you realised that? That's what's going to happen. Migrants are us. I'm a pensioner. I'd never believe a word any of the Labour Party because I can remember them from the 70s. Twilight says he loves the money. Are you talking about me? Oh, no, you're talking about Starmer. Ronnie Hurst. Blimey, there's loads more to get through here. Starmer's days are numbered. He's on borrowed time. I agree. Maggie Morley on Facebook says, he's changing no one's mind, John. We've seen how he works. And most of us have seen enough with only 10 months in government. You're right. I actually agree with that 100%, Maggie. Well done. Go to the top of the class. You can give the pencils out next week. What's the next one? Great chat tonight, Gaunty, says Rob. Thank you. Night John, says Chopper. It's like the Waltons, is it? Night John, boy. I used to love that program. Now Dark Angel's getting in on the act. She said, Night John. Seaside Mark, who hasn't made a comment today, which is unusual, on YouTube, he just says, cheers, John. Cheers. And Neil's back from the young ones just saying, bye. How did he? Well, I can't remember his voice. But anyway, Tony Kenny says he's in panic mode on so many fronts. Yeah, because all this domestic stuff, I mean, I don't believe all the wider things of this, but even so, it'd get to you, wouldn't it? You know, he's got all these big important meetings. And then he's got all these stories coming out, you know, about who buys his suits and what this Ukrainian did and all the rest of it. I'm almost careful. I'm almost feeling sorry for him. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. He's an arrogant. and I'm glad. And I'm glad he's going to collapse. His whole government's going to collapse. My only concern is who takes over afterwards. Not them, but whether Reform can get their act together quick enough. That's my only. And they're obviously worried about Farage because all the papers have been having a go at him today. He's gone off on holiday. Oh, I don't mind that. Parliament breaks up next week. He's got the 2 or 3 other blokes in there who can look after the house, so to speak. I think he deserves a break. He's one of the hardest working politicians. I can tell you lots of nasty things about him if you want, but he's the best option we've got at the moment. And I just thought it was pathetic. They're obviously beginning to panic. And so are the establishment press. You've got to remember, they're in bed, metaphorically and literally. Well, that's been a fantastic show. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed. The 2 dogs have kept quiet. My daughter's not back till late tonight, so I might go and get myself a nice glass of Sauvignon Blanc if she's left any in the fridge for me. I think that's how she's meant to be paying me, but she seems to have forgotten. Until tomorrow then at 6:30, please look after your kids. Give them a kiss, give them a hug, and don't forget to tell them you love them. And please keep pressing the like button and tell everybody Gaunt is back. See you tomorrow. Thanks.